we look at the global events today, it seems that the enemies of the Sangh are not, and Hindus in general are not just within India, but even outside India too. There seems to be a global coalition of people who are professing Hindu phobia, right? Now we are, of course, aware about the United Coalition that is having a conference against uh, for dismantling global Hindutva, whatever that means. So, where is this coming from, and how do we actually counter this as a civilization?
See, the people behind this dismantling Hindutva are majorly the people from India. If you see the name of the speakers, top speakers are all from India, all known urban Naxals, communists, and so-called secularists. And of course, most of them are hardcore communists, and some even to the extent of who are supporting sympathizer to the violent overthrow of democratic governments by Naxals and Maoists. So these people definitely hate Hindutva because Hindutva is rooted in Bharat. It is rooted in Indian traditions, Hindu culture, Hindu tradition, and Hindu knowledge system. While they have their entire worldview based on the original worldview created by British, using church as the via media of creating a narrative where every achievement of Hindu society was denied, every scientific achievement was denied, every wonderful spiritual achievements were denied, and we were made to believe that we have nothing to offer. Right. We are only castes, we are only people who burn women, who kill children. So this narrative was suitable to British because they wanted to rule us. Unfortunately, even after independence, the government that came in decided to outsource the entire narrative of history, etc., to communists because they didn't have enough wherewithals and they were given free hand. So everything that was written and put into education system was done by these leftists or some people from the so-called secular circuit. And that is how we find that education system got corrupted. History books written by renowned historians are removed and new history was written. So when we say history is to be rewritten or saffronized, it's not actually history which is being rewritten. It is the original history to be brought back, which has already been written, based on hard historical evidences provided by the attackers themselves, invaders themselves. Right. And to give legitimacy to invaders, to give legitimacy to these people is something that happened. So it was an attempt to uproot us from our own strong grounds. And the only opposition they countered was from Sangha, from Hindus who believed in Hindutva, which is basically an essence of Hindu Dharma. Tattva means essence or Hinduness. So this Hinduness, which is characterized not by dharma, by religion, but also by our own behavior, which I have written in great detail in my first book, RSS 360. I will not repeat now. So we have a lot of common traits, which are not just religious, they are cultural. Right. Entire definition of Bharat is cultural. The traditions, the cultures you follow at home are all coming by culture. It is not whether a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim. If you're an artist, you're going to touch the stage reverently on your forehead because you worship stage as something where you reach the God. So this is just one example I gave. There are hundreds of examples like this which defines us. So this Hindutva is what is bothering communists because that keeps society united. Our tradition of strong family ties, our strong views about marriage, about a sacrosanct union, vis-a-vis contract of the West, and the extreme value of either individual, which happens in West, or complete negation of family and individual in a communist society. None of it suits us. So strength of India comes from our family system, from our institutions where we work for each other. For example, you talked of COVID. Just to go back a little bit in time, nowhere in the world society stood for the COVID victims like in India. It is not just Sangha. Sangha was the core, it was the rallying point. But every small and big organization, every member of the society came out to help the people. Tell me in which country it was done. It was done either by governments, actually it was left to governments, and we saw horrendous scenes where people beyond 60 years were refused treatment, saying that we have limited resources. But here our seniors were safe, they were in home, they were taken care of by families. Just one example. So this characteristic of Bharat disturbs communists because they cannot see India united, as you said, they believe in that we are multinational, entity brought together by force by British. Well, we have description of Rashtra way back in Vedas, where there are 72 mentions of Rashtra itself, Samiti, Janapada. So this right from 4 BC, we had concept of direct democracy, all these things, and of course scientific achievements. So to control a slave country, this is what British did, but unfortunately we followed the same rules. So they are worried about Hindutva. That is point one. Point two, having really lost their saying in Bharat, they are trying to get credibility by going back to their friends in West and using their good offices to somehow raise a banner against Hindutva. And what kind of, when did they talk? They are doing it on 9th September, which is the day when Swami Vivekananda very proudly declared that why Hindu Dharma is great. It has given plurality, it has given respect to all religion, it has given asylum to all the people, it is not shedding blood because on the faith that only my faith is right, all other faiths are wrong. This was declared by Swami Vivekananda 9th September, 11th September. And same 11th September, terrorists blew up 2 World Tower centers. They wrought havoc on the world civilization. And same day. And when they declared the conference, it was 16th August, when Afghanistan was taken over by Taliban. And who is Taliban? Hardcore Islamists who don't believe in equality, human rights, women rights, children rights, or any music, any kind of good thing in life. So this kind of extreme, violent approach to human society, negation of human rights, and how they have killed thousands of people, how they have stoned women to death, etc., etc. These are the people who came to power on 16th August. Was it to divert attention from them? So on one side, there are people who use gun to impose their views, or use hunters and stones to impose their views. On the other side, there are Hindus who world over have been all over the world, as history proves. You will find Hindu cultures and Hindu murtis everywhere, which are 5,000 year old, 8,000 year old across the world, right from Latin America to China, etc., etc., and who have shown respect to everybody, given asylum to all, and which is the most peaceful religion which is required by the world today, which believes in Republic of Faith, where everybody has right to profess his own faith, express his own views or her views, and that is being demonized. So what are they trying to prove? It is basically an alliance of Islamist people, of intellectuals which are nurtured by church. We talk of Benedict Donegal, who belongs to a university department, it falls under church. Exact relation can be found out. So these people who are being financed to write against India, against Hindus, against Hindu history, who are denying Hindus the correct history. Nobody talks about Holocaust of Hindus. Millions have died during the centuries of foreign occupation. There is no discussion at all in academics. They never raised their revolt when Russia invaded various countries, USSR at that time, and when World War II happened, when Middle East is burning, when millions have been killed in Middle East, Saudi Arabia is bombing its own people in Yemen, Turkey is fighting with their own people in Afghanistan itself, Hazaras who are Shias are being killed. In Nigeria, girls are being killed, kidnapped because they want to study. If you look at this side of Islamist forces and then try to demonize Hindu Dharma, you realize what is that game.
Correct.
But I'm sure this use of academics will be counterproductive, and Hindus will be able to have their say. They will need to be much more intellectually strong and project their views much more strongly in academia. And I think that is how the tide will turn. I have seen the topics of that conference. What is global Hindutva? When there's a global Hindutva, are they trying to equate it with global Ummah of Islam? Naturally, there is no Ummah like this. Which country has Hindutva raided with guns and bombs and tanks? Not a single country, not a single civilization has been destroyed by Hindutva or Hindu Dharma following people. If you look at Islam, of course, the picture, you can see the globally how they destroyed civilization. Even church, they have enslaved blacks, they have enslaved natives, they have killed natives, they have killed millions of blacks in the name of civilizing them. Using the book, both all the whether Christian or Islamic civilizations, they have used the book to enslave people and justify their occupation, and in the name of civilizing, killing their traditions and their people. Those people are today trying to tell us why Hindutva is bad. So there is what is global Hindutva, there is political economy. Now Hindutva economy, we study Hindu philosophers like Dattopan Tengdi, Guruji, Deen Dayal Upadhyay, it is leftist. So what has this left group got against the political economy of India? Even Modi ji was working day and night, is working for the welfare of the poor as the poor. If you look at his policies, all of are the poor. So what is the problem with them? They talk of caste and Hindutva. All the leftist parties, socialist parties are purely casteist parties. They have thrived on casteism. It is Hindutva which has denied caste its due place, saying that casteism is out. Balasaheb Devraj said if untouchability is bad, then nothing is wrong, then nothing is wrong in the world, and it must be thrown out lock, stock, and barrel. It was said way back in 1970s. Vishnu Hindu Parishad declared that every Hindu is born of the same mother and no Hindu can be untouchable in 1966. If this is the view of RSS, which doesn't give any importance to casteism, then what caste they are talking about?
Correct.
They had no Dalit in their Politburo for 100 years. They had one woman in their Politburo after 90 years who happens to be wife of a general secretary of the Communist Party. If this is status of their casteism, where all the leaders of all the left movements, whether communist or Congress or Naxals, are Brahmins. So what caste system Brahminism are talking about? So this is just one of the point. Then gender and sexual politics, gender equity. These people who are aligning with Islamists and church forces, they criminalize LGBT. Only Hindutva doesn't criminalize LGBT. It was under Hindu government, so-called Hindu government, if you may use their word, who has decriminalized LGBT. So what gender equity they're talking about? Have they given rights to women? In their time, did they pass the reservation bill? No, they did not pass. So none of the tests was. They say contours of nation, of course. We believe it's a continuous nation for thousands of years. Our Shastras, our history proves that we are a continuous perennial civilization. We are cultural, national unity. And they have a definition of nation, which is Western nation state, which was born just 300 years back. So this is the kind of difference when they say that India was born on 15th August by the grace of British and Nehru, then of course we have no meeting ground. And then is Hindutva propaganda and digital ecosystem. There is a pain point that they had monopoly of the media. They had the monopoly of narrative. They are slowly finding with the advent of social media, now Hindus and non-left are speaking back. They are talking back. They are having their own narrative. Though they are still not very powerful, they are good enough to retaliate in actual terms, in terms of viewpoints, etc. This is what is troubling them. So now they want to control media, the social media somehow, using direct or indirect methods, because they don't really believe in freedom of speech. We know what happens in communist countries where people are simply killed, they disappear when they want to use their voice. So they have no right to speak about it. They talk about Hinduism and Hindutva. Of course, we say Hindutva and Hinduism are same. Hinduism is goes more towards religious identity. Hindutva goes more about our physical, our social assertiveness of our qualities as Hindus. And then they talk about Islamophobia, white supremacy, Hindutva. So we are supposed to be Islamophobia when you point out the actual facts of history, actually what we see every day in our daily life. In New Zealand yesterday, if you see the newspaper, 6 people were simply killed by guns in New Zealand. What has New Zealand got to do with all this? So this is the kind of mispropaganda that is going on. And India, world needs Hindu-ness, which basically means respect the nature, respect every viewpoint, discuss, resolve issues, and that is how you live. That is what is required in world today. It doesn't require exclusivist religions like communism, Islamism, and Christianism. So that is where we differ from the entire spectrum of left.
100% G. Because if we look at the people who are trying to dismantle global Hindutva, they consider Aurangzeb as an icon and they try to legitimize saffron terror. Right. Whereas we know the reality, even 2611, they were blaming the RSS for 2611, and the reality is
they were equating Taliban with RSS, and as I said, which Hindutva, which RSS has in any society gone with the gun and killed women, stoned women, or hanged people, or stoned people to death, or forced them to convert. In Afghanistan, of 7 lakh minorities, only 700 are left who have not come to India. So complete annihilation of one-time dharmic land, where Mahabharata was major part, where Hindus lived and Buddhas lived, all that is gone totally. Dead. Bamiyan Buddha is a prime example. For them to equate is really embarrassing to any intellectual person, any thinking person. I would not even use any more derogatory word, because it is beyond derogation.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.